Hi, it's James here today. You know, today, what James wants to say, I go to the grocery store maybe once or twice a week, and I don't buy expensive steaks or anything. A little bit of ground beef, some rice, a little bit of water. But the point I want to get to today, I have a wife, moderate income from both of us. My income comes from investments, and she goes to work. And when I go to the gas station and it's $1.72 a liter, then I have to drive around. Jesus Christ. Like, if you had a few kids, I'm just assuming, if you have a few kids and you have two cars, we have two cars at $1.72 a liter, and you gotta drive them to school or, you know, do whatever, drive around, bring them to wherever they gotta go. I I don't know how you could get ahead with the gasoline prices, the grocery prices, and wages. Just ain't keeping up, and there's technically no jobs out there. You know, it's crazy. You know, I'm scared to go to the grocery store now, to be honest with you. You know, it's just madness. And I've been on this planet 51 and a half years, and I never worried about buying groceries in my life. Now I'm like, well, I haven't had a steak in 2 years. Just make homemade meatballs out of shitty ground beef. But yeah, you know, I could not imagine. This is the point I'm trying to get to. Trying to raise a family at this point in time. It just blows my mind. You know, and then if you get into car repairs, you better pray your car don't break down. I'm pretty mechanically inclined. But if I got to bring my car to a shop, oh, God. It cost me $100 for a brake job. They rape your ass. But, sometimes you get a little older, you don't want to lay on your garage floor. So you just take the punch in the back of the head. But yeah, they have to do something about making the cost of living for Canadians much easier. I look back 20 years ago, I never worried about groceries, gas, or nothing. That was 20 years ago. And I had a mortgage and two car payments. Now I'm like counting every penny. They keep on lifting my property taxes. I'm like, where does it stop? Everybody just keeps adding and adding. I'm somewhat fortunate. I got one basic income and I make some money from investments. But if you got kids and you got to feed, two or three, four kids, I wouldn't want to be you at the grocery store. Even the dollar store. The dollar store's expensive now. Anyways, just a story from James today about the price of everything out of control. James out.